Here we have Casey White. All right, this tall mother effer. So he ended up in prison in 2012 for about 3 years for beating his brother with an axe sledgehammer handle. So basically, like the handle of a sledgehammer, he beat his brother with, and he was in prison for 3 years. After he got out, he carried out another crime spree, including home invasion, carjacking, a police chase, and he was indicted on 15 counts, and he was convicted on 7 of those counts, and he was set to serve 75 years in prison. All right, so he's basically going to spend the rest of his life in jail. While he was in prison, he did a bunch of dumb shit anyways. He tried to break out a few times. He ended up falling in love, and I don't know if he actually fell in love. I'm kind of making up a story at this point, but he had a romantic relationship with this guard, which is kind of nuts, right? So this lady, Vicki White, and I don't know, it's crazy because they have the same last name, so I don't know if they got married or if it's just a happenstance that they both have the same last name. But Vicki White was a guard, or what do they call him, correctional officer at the correctional facility. What ended up happening was she told the prison that she was taking him to a mental health evaluation. They left the prison when they weren't coming back. They reached out, they tried to find out like, hey, is it at first they thought he kidnapped her, but then they realized that she made the whole story up. But for the past 11 days, this man, Casey White, and Vicki White, the correctional officer here, have been on the run from police. And now I'm going to show you a video, which is them apprehending the suspect. Unfortunately, Vicki White, the guard who fled with Casey White, allegedly, and it seems to be like from everything I'm reading here, shot herself in the head. All right, she committed suicide. That's what they're apparently ruling, or that's what they're saying now. There was a 911 call where she was on the phone with 911, talking about how, they were gonna have a standoff with police, but the police ended up kind of crashing their car. But you'll see that here in the video. Let's just play this so you guys can kind of take a look and have an idea on what happened.
The new video of the final chase of that fugitive couple after 11 days on the run. The escaped prisoner taken into custody after the officials say the former corrections officer took her own life. Casey White is now talking to police. Alex Perez has the latest.
Overnight, escaped prisoner Casey White led in handcuffs into this northern Alabama courthouse, facing additional charges following the end of that dramatic jailbreak and 11-day manhunt that left his accomplice, former corrections officer Vicki White, dead.
Again, I really want to know if they just happen to have the same last name, or if they snuck off and got married on those 11 days or what, and they're just calling her that. I'll have to look more into that, but it's kind of crazy if they do have the same last name.
Dramatic new police dash camera video capturing the intense moments the fugitive was apprehended Monday in Evansville, Indiana.
I'm looking at it right now, they just got him.
In this newly released 911 call, Vicki is overheard urging White to run.
Get out, run.
With nowhere to hide, officers piling on 6'9" Casey in a white undershirt and dark sunglasses, the 38-year-old finally in handcuffs and back in custody.
What's crazy is he's tried to break out of prison several times, right? And he's finally able to do so. He's able to build a relationship with a guard. You got to think about, is he some sort of psychopath kind of genius where he can manipulate people to fall in love with them? Because you the kind of the stuff you hear in the movies or the stories or whatever. Or is she just the type who she's working there because she likes has a fantasy or fetish for bad guys? It's just one of those crazy stories you feel like would be in a movie. I don't know, that the guard ends up accomplice with one of the inmates. They both share the same last name. I don't know what that's all about, but she helps him break out of prison with some kind of not so elaborate story, but it works really well because it's he needs a psych eval, so I'm just gonna take him. And then they're fleeing for 11 days. They had a ton of weapons in their vehicle. They planned to have a shootout with the cops, but what happened is the cops basically, they were on a chase with these two, and they rolled their car into a ditch. so they weren't able to really have a standoff. Thank God, you know, because no cops were injured during this. But it's kind of nuts, right? It's like one of those things out of a movie, you know. Here's a picture of the vehicle, picture of the Cadillac that they were driving that got rolled. Before Vicki died, she was facing multiple charges, forgery and identity theft charges in Alabama. Huh. She was an assistant director of the corrections for Lauderdale County. Like, or maybe, you know, did he pay her? You know, I just want to know more. You know, I want to know more about like what she was thinking. But unfortunately, she is no longer here to tell that story, right? You know, it would have been interesting to hear what she had to say about all of this. This is one of those kind of stories that we're going to hear about in like 15 years where, you know, like he breaks the silence or whatever and spills the beans about anything. But in reality, he might be getting sentenced to death based off of like the charges on top of what he already had, the 75 years. There's, I think, potential for him to get a death penalty. I don't know. I was looking into that a little bit, but, you know, he's definitely going to be going back to prison for the rest of his life. You know, no questions asked. Kind of a crazy story. I am glad that they apprehended him and nobody was hurt other than Vicki. It's unfortunate she was hurt, but she was also an accomplice. You know, no police officers were hurt, no innocent bystanders, I believe, were hurt during the 11 days. So that's fortunate that, you know, they got him, right? Crazy story, though. Crazy story.